Do you know what success, fulfillment, and happiness really mean to you? Are you conscious of what you want beyond what you've been told you should want? In this video, you'll find out if your ideas of success are really your own or are they forced on you by society. If you don't discover your heart and soul's calling, you'll quickly find other people's ideas of success stepping in to fill the void. And you might not even realize it until decades later, by the time you've spent most of your life chasing dreams that never really belonged to you. So, what does it take to take charge of your life? It takes a vision to see what your best life really looks like. It takes a pristine determination to choose that life. And it takes a focused mind to attract that life. You already have all these strengths inside you. Scripting is a process you use to reconnect with them and become the person you truly want to be. Scripting is a transformational lifestyle design system that empowers you to envision and focus your very best life into reality on your own terms and nobody else's. It is a book about you, created by you. Imagine owning a book with a crystal clear vision for the person you want to become and the life you want to live, beyond the cookie-cutter goals imposed on you by society. Every dream, every desire, every goal, everything that you really want, captured on the pages of your personal blueprint for life, your book of life. Your book of life will become the most important book on your shelf and your step-by-step plan for attracting your dream life. Most people only focus on improving their career, wealth, health, and relationships. But in reality, there are many more areas of your life that shape your success, happiness, and true fulfillment. Scripting your life book takes you on an eye-opening deep dive into all 12 dimensions of your life and empowers you to thrive in each of them without sacrificing or compromising one area for another. Health and fitness, intellectual, emotional, character, spiritual, love relationship, parenting, social, career, financial, quality of life, life vision. When you answer the call of your most authentic life, you're fulfilling your highest purpose as a human being. In this state, you're no longer dimming your light just to fit in. You show up and speak up fearlessly. You're achieving, growing, and making an impact on your terms. And you crackle with personal power and a respectful disregard of other people's opinions about how to live your life. This is what happens to life bookers around the world. People from all walks of life, each with their own dreams and aspirations. People who are choosing their best lives every day. People whose very existence proves that it's never too late and that nothing is ever impossible. Scripting your life book is a global phenomenon. Hundreds of thousands of people worldwide swear by it. In this video, you'll discover exactly how to use it to shape your own vision of success in the 12 dimensions of your life. What separates Lifebook from any other goal-setting or personal growth system is how it trains you to ask yourself, is my idea of success really my own? Or is it a projection forced on me by society and the limiting beliefs I've been conditioned with? Then, by being guided through 12 key areas of your life, you get empowered to create your own personal game plan for success that keeps you constantly inspired and aligned with the choices that lead to your highest quality of life. And that empowers you to have it all, the success, the relationships, the health, the fulfillment, without having to sacrifice one for the other. Lifebook exists because you were born with a tremendous superpower, the power to create yourself in the image of your own values. And then there's the mortal enemy to that superpower, the disempowering idea that the answers to everything you've ever wanted in life and to your greatest purpose are in someone else's hands. Culture, traditions, expectations, norms, everything and everyone around you that tries to dictate what your success and your life should look like. Too many people follow along without question and find themselves decades later stuck in a life they never truly wanted. Scripting your lifebook helps you break free. On a planet of 7+ billion people, there are 7+ billion valid visions of what authentic joy, success, and fulfillment truly mean. Scripting your lifebook helps you find and achieve yours.
It doesn't even occur to most people that they could have an extraordinary life. The word extraordinary means not ordinary. So when you look around at how everybody else is living, it just never occurs to people that there's something more, there's something bigger. I could be more, I could do more, I could have more. You know, we have a friend, a very, very successful friend, great marriage, really, really big business, super high quality guy. He went through Lifebook, and at the end of this process, he said, you know, John and Missy, I've always had a good life. I've always focused on trying to make my life great, but it never occurred to me that I could actually have an extraordinary life that works at a high level in every important area until I went through Lifebook. And they blew their lives to the next level. So I think that's the first thing.
I think it's just not knowing, not having the consciousness that that is a possibility. Because you look around and everybody's kind of doing the same thing. And there are systems in our society that are set up to help you do kind of the ordinary. And if you do that really well, then you have a pretty good life, but you're still living within that ordinary system. What we do at Lifebook is kind of help you break out of that and see
Yeah, status quo is very, very powerful, right? To break out of that status quo takes a tremendous amount of energy and vision.
And consciousness.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think even if people do have a desire to live an amazing life, an extraordinary life, it's not easy to figure out how to do that. A lot of people are so busy with what happened in their lives. They're so busy on the treadmill of life. Most people out there are overwhelmed and exhausted. They literally don't have the time. Well, actually they do. They don't take the time to really sit down and think through what their happiness and their fulfillment require. That's another massive hurdle. Just not taking the time to just take a break from all the craziness that they're in.
That's ultimately what it is. They just don't know that they are kind of inside of a bubble or on the hamster wheel, and the inertia of their life is going, going, going. And in order to take a look at it, you have to kind of stop and get off that.
Exactly.
And that's scary and hard, because what happens with the hamster wheel, if you get off of it, it's... Right?
And also, what am I going to see when I take a look at my life, when I actually take a pause and look at how things are going? Some people, you know, all of us, I think, are just a little bit nervous to look and see where this sort of, especially if we're on an unconscious path, where we're just sort of reacting. And even the people that are really focused on living the best life they can usually are doing it inside of an outdated model of success, where they're focused mainly on one or two categories of life. Career and financial are the two categories that really suck the life out of most people's lives. And they spend 80–90% of their time in those two categories.
Yeah, and the problem is we don't have a lot of examples of someone living an extraordinary holistic life. Like in our colleges and schools, it's all about, you know, your academics. Once you finish your academics, then you have to go out and earn money. So it's finance and career. That's just a little tiny part of your life. That's it's actually just two categories, career and finance. In Lifebook, we have 12 that we focus on. Your life is a multifaceted existence.
The reason it's so critical to understand the vision of the person you want to become and the life you want to live is because without it, you don't have a decision-making framework to guide your actions. If you have a life vision and you know exactly where you want to take your life, that's your North Star. Every decision you make, every action you take has to line up with that North Star. You have a decision-making framework to say, is this right for me or is this wrong for me? And how do you do that? Is it going to get me closer or farther away from that? And especially in this day and age, in the 21st century, with that little phone that we have in our pocket that has the total sum of human knowledge in our pocket at the speed of light, the best things in the world, Harvard courses for free if you want to go that direction. Or if you want to go a different direction, it can completely ruin your life with addiction. It'll take you anywhere you want to go, but it won't replace you as the driver. You are the one that has to make the decisions how to navigate through that information. And if you don't have a North Star, if you don't have a life vision, you don't have a decision-making framework that allows you to do that.
The first step in finding out what your life vision is discovering who you are. What are your own values and your own beliefs and your own driving forces? If you can figure that out, if you have that and you know what that is, that can help you build your life vision. And then you know where you're going. And then you won't get knocked off course when you go out into society and say, hey, this is me. Because you're going to inevitably run up against people that are like, you're not like me. You should be like me. You're like you? I don't like that. There's always a rub when you show up as your authentic self.
And it's so hard to get to your authentic self in this day and age because everybody out there is trying to control your behavior. The smartest people in the world spend all day, every day, and get paid a tremendous amount of money trying to figure out how to get you to do what they want you to do. And I'm sure that we're all aware of this at a pretty deep level. Missy and I were in one of the highest level masterminds in the world. It cost a fortune to be in this club. We were with some of the best marketers in the world.
We learned a lot.
We learned, one of the most shocking things that we learned is how much these smart people know about you, how in your head they are, the lengths to which they will go to control your behavior and get you to go down the path that they want you to go down. You know, you go into a grocery store, you will encounter 35,000 brands in 30 minutes. And every one of those companies spent millions of dollars trying to figure out how to get you to do the behavior they want you to do.
So here's a perfect example of that. You grab your phone because you need to send someone a text. You grab your phone and all of a sudden you got sucked into a notification and you're answering email, you're on YouTube, and in 10, 20 minutes, an hour, you're like, wait a second. I got on my phone to send someone a text and you're already down a rabbit hole. You are lost. And that's me. I'm a conscious person with a life vision. That happens to me. It's hard.
The smartest people in the world work all day, every day, trying to get you to do what they want you to do. Your life vision is your inoculation to all of that. It's your way to cut through it like a knife through butter. I know where I'm going. So this distraction that just came in, hold it up to my life vision, doesn't fit, sorry. This one right here, this is good. You've got to make the decisions. It's going to get you to your ultimate goal. It definitely wasn't easy for us. We've had our share of pain and suffering, just like everybody else. If you're a human being, you're going to have pain, you're going to have suffering, you're going to have disappointment, you're going to have frustration. It's part of the program, and we've had a lot of it. But we try our best to not let that be our story. We do not let that define us. We use that as fuel to drive toward that extraordinary life. You know, we've lost 3 brothers to drugs and alcohol. I had a severe anxiety disorder it's an interesting story. So we were partying like rock stars during that time of our life. We had a big meeting in Los Angeles, and we went out there, and the night before we just partied all night, stayed up late. I woke up and my breakfast was 3 aspirin and 3 cups of coffee. And, you know, I went into this boardroom, and basically what happened is I had a panic attack while I was opening this board meeting, and it was horrible. I mean, I'd never had a panic attack before. If you've never had one, it's like you completely lose control of yourself. It feels like there's a freight train running through your head. It's absolutely horrifying. And so it was just this terrible experience. I didn't know what was happening. I had to sit down. It was humiliating. And I remember coming back to the hotel after that experience and saying to Miss, telling her what happened, Miss, this happened. What the hell just happened to me? What is that? And of course, panic disorder runs in our family, so we were familiar with it.
Yeah, we started investigating, you know, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Duh, of course it was because we stayed up all night and, you know, we're drinking and acting crazy, and then he got up, not enough sleep.
In a stressful situation.
In a stressful situation. And so then we started, it was, okay, this was a wake-up call, a serious wake-up call. So it's time to really figure out what's going on. So we went to a psychiatrist because we talked to the rest of his family. We knew his brothers were struggling from anxiety. We realized, okay, this is a family issue. John went to the same psychiatrist his brother went to. And the first thing the doctor said is, here, I can just prescribe some medication for you.
That was a panic attack. Here's, you know, I can give you tranquilizers. Well, I refused to go down that path because I could already see the devastation that it was having on my younger brother, and it did not look like it was leading to a good place. And what happened was my father actually thought that it would help to buy me a couple personal development programs. I'd never listened to personal development before, but he gave me these 2 programs. One of them was specifically on anxiety, which really helped me. And I listened to these 2 programs and I said, this is the way out, to work on myself, to examine myself. This is an internal issue that I've got to solve here before it can express outward. So that's the path that we decided to take. And eventually my brother died from all that medication and drugs and alcohol.
And another brother died from self-medicating, and then I lost a brother to medicating.
We've had our share of pain and suffering like everybody else, but that's not our story. That's not what defines our life. What defines our life is what we did when we encountered that pain and suffering. And what that was we decided, we looked around us and we didn't like what we saw. We didn't like, most people aren't happy. Most people are not successful or balanced or fulfilled. And we didn't want to go down that path. So we decided to create a life that was uniquely ours, according to our own standards and values. One that we design, that we're passionate about, that we want to live. We had what we call a respectful disregard. Respectful disregard for how anyone else chooses to live their life in any category. We're going to look at what you do, we're going to look at best practices, and we're going to ask and that's cool for you, but when it comes to us, we ask ourselves, does that make sense to us? Does that work for us? Is that something that we want to integrate into this beautiful masterpiece that we're creating together? And if the answer is yes, we welcome it in. If the answer is no, we say no thank you and good luck. And we really mean that. It's a respectful disregard. We've gone there in every category of our lives. For most couples, the spark goes out very, very quickly. Not here, it's not happening. We're going to put systems and processes in place to guarantee our love connection will never go out. Most adults gain a pound a year and end up well overweight. We're not running that program. That doesn't work for us. That's not something that we want to bring into this beautiful masterpiece we're creating together. Most parents abdicate the education of their children to the government. We're not doing that. We're on a different program. We're going to find our own unique way of doing that. And we've done that across every category of our lives.
Yep. And it's simply bringing a higher level of consciousness to what's going on around you, and a mindfulness of how does this affect me? How does this resonate with my own values and my own standards? And that's what happened, and that's how Lifebook was born. We look at obstacles and suffering and troubles and problems now from a very different angle. When we look back on all the things that did happen to us, the things that came from those tragedies and those sufferings, because of the way we turned it to serve our own values, it was a blessing, it was a gift. So now we look at challenges as, okay, what is this going to teach us? How are we going to make ourselves even more skillful, even more, turned on, more conscious? Because like John said at the beginning, suffering and troubles and challenges are a part of the human condition. That's what makes us stronger.
The reason that we want to make Lifebook available to as many people as possible is because we think that this really could change the world. And that's not just lip service. The only way that the change is going to happen, it seems like the flavor of the moment is force others to be the change you want to see in the world. But it's truly the Gandhi quote, you've got to become the change that you want to see. And Lifebook is a mechanism by which to get there. It's an empty system that you fill up with your own values, and so that you can step into that role of really becoming the change that you want to see. And that's what we need. It's the only, governments will never fix it, corporations will never fix it, institutions will never fix it, groups will never fix it. It's an individual thing.
But I will say this, because we lost 3 brothers and we could not help them, we didn't know what to do at the time, and we tried different things with all 3 of them, and it's come to our attention, or it makes sense that really the only way that you can truly help another person is show them how to help themselves, how to completely turn this thing on inside of them that makes them understand that they really are in control and that they really can do this. And not only that, they're made for it. Each and every one of us is built specifically for our own life, and we are able and we can do it. So just teaching people that it's a possibility.
The only sustainable way to truly help other people is by turning them on so that they can help themselves. The only sustainable way.
And anytime you're outside the norm, you're gonna get badgered, you're gonna get rotten tomatoes thrown at you, you're going to have bad words. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
That's the nature of what this is. And if more of us get outside that box, then there'll be less inside to throw tomatoes.
That's true.
I mean, you know.
But what Lifebook does is Lifebook helps you develop a sense of your highest self, a very well clarified sense of your highest self. That's, at the end of the program, that's what you get. This clear vision of the person that you could become, and then you can start to move toward that vision with intention every single day. And that's the beauty of this process. That's why it worked so beautiful for us, and why it's worked for so many other thousands of people. If your goal is to create an extraordinary life that works at a high level in every important area, the first thing you have to know is what that looks like, because you will never achieve that unless you know what it is that you're moving toward. So we call that creating your life vision. And how we do it at Lifebook, how Missy and I have done this over the last 30 years, the first thing that we did is we asked ourselves, if we want a truly extraordinary life, what are the areas of life that we really have to master? We really have to learn how to just crush every single day, and then we're going to be living that beautiful life. So we identified 12 areas of life that we focused on over the years. You know most of them, your health and fitness, your financial life, your career, but there's a few unexpected ones in there too. So the way to create a life vision at the level that we do, which is like so detailed and so compelling, something that you're so passionate about that it becomes a North Star that pulls you forward, is to ask yourself deeply, what do I want in each of these areas of my life? Not what society tells me I should want, my parents, my teachers, my preachers, what do I really want deep down inside?
The first step is really to get conscious of who you are. So there's a process of self-discovery.
Right.
And you ask these series of questions to yourself, and you discover who you are and what you believe and what your values are. And over time, you start uncovering your own values and your own beliefs. And that is what your life vision will be based on.
Exactly. It basically is a way for you to get in touch with what your highest self would look like. That's what you do through this process. So now you've got a crystal clear vision of your highest self and your very best life. That's step number one. So the way to create that crystal clear life vision that will just pull you forward into the extraordinary life that you want to create is to take a look at the 12 different areas of your life. That's how many categories we identified over the last 30 years that we really had to master in order to have an extraordinary life. So I think we should just take you through what those categories are. The first 5 of the 12 we call your personal life categories, because these 5 categories are basically, they're you separate from the rest of the world. Nobody has anything to do with these categories except for you. So the first one is your health and fitness. You are in charge of your health and fitness, nobody else. The second one is your intellectual life. It's about thinking, which is basically our primary tool of survival as human beings. The third category is your emotional life. Super powerful one. It's a super good one to get detailed in that category, because that controls so much of the quality of your experience on this planet. The fourth category is your character. That's where you really define what kind of a person you want to become, what your life is all about, what the meaning of your life is. And the fifth personal life category is your spiritual life. We've all got some experience with that category, and that's a deep one.
And then we move on to your relationships.
Right.
And the first one is your significant other or your love relationship, very important to happiness and longevity. Parenting, either your own parenting with your own children or your own parents. The third one is your social life. And then it goes on into your business life, which is your financial life and your career.
So the 11th category is your quality of life. And this is where we explore the things that you want in your life, the environments that you're surrounded by, your home, your office, and the experiences that you want in your life. So this is where world travel, this is the fun category. It's like the reward for all the hard work you do. Those 11 categories, defining clearly what you want in each of them, all add up to the 12th category, which is called your life vision. It's where everything comes together. So when you take a look at your life vision category, you can see what you want in every important area of your life. That becomes your North Star, so that all the decisions you make support that beautiful vision that you've created.
And the way that you discover your life vision is by asking yourself a few questions in each one of these categories. And the first one is, what do you really believe? What do you believe in this category? What do you believe is true for yourself? Not for anybody else, not for society, not for John and Missy, for you, not for anyone else. And the next one is, what is your highest version or highest vision of your own self in that category? The third one is, if that's what you believe and that's what you want, why? Why do you want that? So you have to answer that question. And then the last one is, if you want all that stuff, you believe all that stuff, what are you going to do in your life today to make that a reality and make that your real life? So we really dig in deep and do a lot of self-discovery, because a lot of people don't even know what they believe or where they're beginning from, and that's a key component to this.
It's an incredible path to self-discovery. So it's pretty simple. The process is simple. It doesn't have a lot of moving parts. 12 categories. We ask ourselves the same 4 questions. What do I believe about this category? What are the beliefs that are controlling my behavior in this area of my life? Question number 2 is, what precisely, with clarity, do I want in this area of my life? Question number 3 is, why do I want that? What will I gain if I achieve it? What will I lose if I don't? And question number 4 is, what do I need to do to get it? That little system, which takes 6 weeks to do in our online course, deep, deep thinking, you will have profound realizations that will change your life just based on that work, just based on getting clear. It's a transformative process. One of the things that Lifebook does is it flips everything upside down. So we were talking earlier about how some people have success in 1 or 2 areas of life, and often the career goals you set can completely derail your love relationship or derail your health and fitness. So there tends to be if you don't have a life vision to hold everything up to, there tends to be a tension between these goals. Whereas when you go through Lifebook, we have a saying, a win anywhere is a win everywhere. Every single time that you crush a category, what you realize is, my career will be better if my health and fitness is better. Literally, I have to get my health and fitness up to a certain level in order to have the best career. How's my career going to be better? If I have a hosed up love relationship where I dread seeing my spouse every evening, or if I have an incredible, supportive, passionate love relationship, these categories start to support each other, and this positive spiral begins to happen, and that's one of the things that creates the magic. There is something about this process that you can't explain. Pillar 2 is, after you've got your life vision in place, you've got your North Star. You know exactly where you're going. Now what we help you do is we help you put in place a structured rhythm of goal setting and goal accomplishment against that life vision. See, what's wrong with goals is that people set them in a vacuum. They set a goal for this area of their life, that area of their life, and often there's tension between those 2 goals. Lifebook goal setting is a different level because every goal you set is going against that North Star. It aligns all of your goals so they're almost flowing like a river in the same direction. Everything you're doing is consistent and coherent and aligned. The third pillar is very interesting. We take a good look at your habits, your small daily choices and actions. As a matter of fact, it's so important to us that we call these your 12 sacred choices. What are the 12 small daily behaviors that you're going to commit to that are most aligned with that life vision, that are going to turn you into the person that you want to become? And how important is that?
Oh my gosh. So pillar number 3 is where the rubber hits the road.
That's right.
It's where you take daily action. And we all know that the only time action happens is in this continuous present moment that we're in. Well, first, backing up, lighting your goals with your habits is an amazing game changer. But what we're doing here, if you could kind of already see, is we're aligning everything and we're integrating the work that you did in all those 12 categories, and we're now integrating it into your daily life so that you actually are taking small mini steps. It's an amazing experience and it's profound, and that's where action really happens.
That's right.
Isn't that?
That's where you start to make real progress
Yeah.
toward your life vision. The fourth pillar is we wrap an accountability system around all that. We track it, we measure it, we make sure that you're making meaningful progress toward your life vision, and we wrap an accountability system around it where you are responsible to your peers for doing what you said you were going to do. Now, there's a lot of research on this. When you say to yourself, I want to achieve this goal, it usually gets you a certain result. When you commit to other people, I am going to achieve this goal, and I'm going to show up Wednesday at 7 o'clock and tell you whether I did or didn't, results go through the roof. So we wrap an accountability system around it. And the thing about this process, if you get crystal clear on your life vision, and then if you align your goal setting, your habit tracking with that life vision and wrap accountability around it, you literally cannot fail to make measurable, meaningful progress toward that life vision every week, every month, and every year. When we talk about the most compelling vision that you can create for your life, people look at you with a blank stare. So many people are so disconnected from any kind of an idea of their highest self because life happened to them. I mean, at one point they may have had a dream for the person they want to become and the life they want to live, and then they got caught in whatever it was, and now they know that's not going to happen for them. So people are just disconnected from what they really, really want in life. So we wanted to just give a little bit of a taste, just a little tiny taste of what that might look like and feel like. We're going to lead you through an exercise that's going to allow you to catch a glimpse of your very best future. This is really exciting, so get in a state of positive expectation because magic's about to happen. Just relax now. Take a deep breath. Hold it, and as you exhale, let all the tension out of your body. Just feel how much the music is relaxing you right now. This exercise is blissful and it's easy. Take another deep breath now. Hold it. And as you let it out, let go of any expectations or concerns or worries. You're feeling more and more deeply relaxed now. You're going to allow your future to come to you now, and you'll allow your mind to integrate it and to understand it. It's 5 years from now, and you've worked really hard on yourself and created a truly extraordinary life. You're healthy and strong. You're empowered and confident. You have more healthy self-esteem than you've ever had before. Your new friendships have taken your life to a whole new level. Your new friends inspire you and pull you forward. You seem to attract good people to you, almost as if you've become magnetic. You've taken your career to a whole new level. Just take a moment and be grateful for your dream career. At one point it seemed out of reach, but finally the financial abundance has started to flow. You've got the love relationship that you've always dreamed of. Just take a moment and feel how grateful you are for your passionate, exciting, wonderful love relationship. You have it all now. Can you even believe it? Your heart is so full it feels like it's going to burst. And now, gently, staying connected to all those warm, positive emotions, you're going to record what you're experiencing. So if your eyes are closed, let them open easily now, but continue to hold your future in your mind and feel the strength of it and feel the emotion behind it. Take a few moments now to answer the following questions. What is your new level of health and fitness? Are you in the best shape of your life? Are you at your ideal weight? Take a moment now to describe your new level of health and fitness. And now, describe your ideal love relationship. What does it look like? Physically, emotionally, sexually, spiritually? Take a few moments now to describe your dream love life. You have that career that you've always dreamed of. What does it look like? Where are you working? What kind of skills and talents and abilities have you acquired? How much money are you making? Take a few moments and describe the dream career that you're living every day. What does your dream house look like? Where are you living now? What kind of a house are you living in? What does it feel like? Take a moment and describe the dream home that you're living in now. What kind of experiences are you enjoying in your new life? Are you traveling more than you used to? Do you have a lot of excitement and adventure in your life now? Take a few moments to describe the wonderful experiences you're creating for yourself on an ongoing basis. This is your new life, your new level of health and fitness, your fulfilling relationship with your lover, your dream career, your successful financial life, the quality things and experiences you enjoy in your life. You know exactly who you are, you know exactly what you want out of life, and you don't waste time or energy on anything else. I will say it again, if you do those things, if you get crystal clear on your life vision, align your goals and habits and wrap accountability around it with a measurement system in that accountability, you cannot possibly fail. You cannot possibly fail in making meaningful, measurable progress toward that life vision because you're working it, you're working the system, and you see it just manifest in front of your eyes.
That's right. I always say, simply put, it's about bringing more consciousness and more mindfulness just to your everyday life. Lifebook, we go deep and we really push your consciousness gene, and we make sure that you are really thinking deeply about what you really do want in all those 4 questions. But just the fact that you're aware that there are 12 categories, that's a game changer. Mm-hmm. It broadens your awareness, so therefore it broadens your consciousness. And you can't unknow it. We know that once you learn something, you know it, so you can't unknow that. And that's how it's a growing and a flowering or an awakening that happens once you step on this path and start doing these exercises.
Yep. We call that soaring self-empowerment. Every Lifebook member calls it something different because every Lifebook member at some point in this process experiences the switch that gets flipped that says, my life is mine, I own it. I realize now that I'm the decision maker at the center of my own existence, that I'm the responsible party, that I can actually drive this ship instead of just reacting to life, letting life happen to me, doing what everybody else around me is doing. I can literally direct my life consciously and take it where I want to go. We call it soaring self-empowerment when that hit us, that we really can be in control, that we are in control.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because you are in control whether you choose to take control.
To exercise it or
yes,
not.
Or
you
not.
are.
Because deciding to not take the reins of your own life, you've made the choice
Still
to
a
let
decision.
someone else. Because someone will step in and take that for you. Your
Yep.
life is going to go the way it's going to go. And if you decide to be the driver of your life, awesome. The Lifebook program will help you do that. If you decide not to decide, you still made a choice. You still, even if you're unconscious of that choice, you've still made a choice. If you don't really decide what you want in life, there are so many people and so many distractions around us everywhere that your life will end up somewhere. So it's best
Why
if
not
you
take control of it consciously? That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to share. That's what we think is going to make the world a better place. So the most important thing to us in sharing Lifebook is that, this wasn't easy. It took us almost 30 years to figure this out and to put this together. It cost millions of dollars to develop. It took thousands and thousands of hours. We've got a lot into this. And what's important to us is that we share it with people who are committed. So what was really important after putting so much time and effort into this that we could share it is that we shared it with the right people. And what that means is the people that were really committed to using it. Because if you start this program and don't finish it, it's not going to do you any good, it's not going to do us any good, and it's not going to get us any closer to our mission of 1 million people with a Lifebook. You can ask for a full 100% refund and we will happily give you your money back. The reason we have that offer in place is so that as many people can take advantage of it as possible. But another thing that it did is it exploded our completion rates.
We want people to flip that switch and be turned on, and so that they can then in turn, if they're already self-directed and they're creating their own life and they're in this vortex of living the Lifebook lifestyle, then they can turn to their friend or their brother or their sister and say, hey, would you like some help? Because we all want to help others now. That's the story of today, and that is where we should be. But you can't help someone else unless you have helped yourself first.
That's
you know
right.
the saying, you can't give away what you don't have? This is really true. You cannot really truly help someone at the level that you are capable unless you do this work first and really self-actualize yourself so that you know where you're going. You have to know where you're going first. So Lifebook Online is a 6-week program, and you go through 2 categories every week. And we have coaching calls with John and I, so you get to see us and do Q&A. It's a lot of fun for us.
Yep.
And
You
what
get
else?
beautiful templates so that you can, these are your chapters, so you get to type in these templates. You watch a video that's about an hour, just maybe a little longer than an hour, which asks you those 4 questions, gives you inspiration, encouragement, and support as you're thinking through what you got to think through, and you're typing in your templates. So you basically create 2 chapters a week. And that goes on for 6 weeks. One is health and fitness and your intellectual life, and they are barn burn categories, absolutely fast. So you get out of the blocks fast. This thing starts fast and gets exciting. I just want to say one word about the community, because this is such an incredibly important part of the Lifebook experience. As you're going through these categories, you're going to hit bumps. You're going to hit some painful realizations, and the community is there. We share our challenges. We share our wisdom. We help each other through this. It's amazing how much wisdom is in each one of these groups that go through the program.
Absolutely. I think that that's one of my favorite parts of calls also. Almost on every single call, John and I learn something new from the community. Someone has a suggestion or advice or even just a strategy that they're using recently, and it's really profound. You can really see the power of this community, of all these turned on people that are self-directed and really going, and it's beautiful. The diversity is unimaginable.
It is. One of our little sayings is, no one is smarter than everyone. And we have everyone on these calls, and we have everyone communicating as we work through these 12 categories. It's a real joy.
It is. If you're going to do it right, I would say it takes about 3 hours.
Me too.
Yeah.
3 to 4, I would say.
3 to 4 hours.
The videos themselves are just a little bit over an hour, and then you want to go back in after you've done your initial work and really clean up that chapter. One of the beautiful things about Lifebook is every Lifebook is different because every person's different. This is an empty system that you fill up with your own content, right? So an artist is going to make their Lifebook more artistic and visual and more beautiful, whereas someone who's more left-brained is going to look a little bit different. So it really varies person to person, but I'd say 3 to 4 hours a week.
Yeah, and it really depends on how much contemplation time you give
Right.
yourself, and that is the key. Contemplating these questions, deeply contemplating these questions is where you will find the deepest answers.
That's correct.
Inside. So I would take as much time as you can.
The more you put into it, the more you're going to get
Yes.
out. So you really want to give it as much as you can. This is you doing work on you.
I think it's for anyone that is really wanting to take control of their life. I mean, we have people in our program right now that are in their 80s. And we've had
And down to
teenagers.
teenagers, yeah.
So, and everyone in between. So it's for anyone that really is interested in taking control of their life, or just feeling like their life is theirs and not belonging to someone else, and want to be self-directed.
Exactly. Or even somebody who's interested in just discovering who they are at a deeper level, expanding their consciousness. Lifebook is a super great course to take anytime you're in a transition.
Yes.
You're graduating, you're getting married, you're getting divorced, anytime you're retiring, moving from one area of your life to the next, where you really should be thinking down, what's this next chapter of my life going to be about?
Yeah.
You know, what do I want to create in this next phase of my life? It's a really good...
Especially when you're in one of those transitions, everything's already torn up anyway, or
Right.
things are new and you're getting ready to put some new foundations in. That is a really good time to
for some deep thinking.
deep contemplation.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Here are the main things that make Lifebook different. The first thing is the comprehensive nature of the program. Most programs look at 1 or 2 areas of your life. Lifebook looks at every important area of your life. We look at the whole pie, not just 1 or 2 slices. And that's profound, because as you're working through those 12 categories, there's this stacking effect that happens, where one breakthrough leads to another, leads to another. So that's the first thing.
And you also, when you do that comprehensive approach, you can find the contradictions that you wouldn't have necessarily seen before. Like in one category, it might be undermining another category. And those beliefs can really come to the surface, those disempowering beliefs come to the surface
Right.
when you're doing that deep discovery work.
Yes, you'll discover amazing things about yourself in this process. The second thing that makes Lifebook different is how personal it is to you. This program is an empty system that you fill up with your own stuff. In other words, the valuable information that comes from the Lifebook course comes from you, not at you, like every other personal development program. This isn't a guru telling you what you should believe or what you should think or what you should want. This is you thinking for yourself inside of an empty system. So every Lifebook is different because every person is different. The course is absolutely personalized to you. The third thing that makes Lifebook different is that there is a tangible deliverable at the end of this program. Most seminars you go to, most courses you take, you leave with maybe a pad full of notes and some good intentions. With Lifebook, you leave with something tangible. You've just created basically a 100-page book about the person you want to become and the life you want to live, and you've got it, and you can hold it in your hands, and it is amazing.
It's your game plan, it's your business plan, your life vision plan.
And then you never stop modifying it. This is a dynamic process. You'll work on it over time, but you've got your first draft, and it's an incredible thing to have. And then lastly, we have a tracking and measurement system, and this is so incredibly important to make sure that you're making measurable progress to your life vision every week, every month, and every year. Because what happens when you create a plan is you know that it's going to go sideways as soon as you put it out into the world. Things don't always go according to plan. So you need a way to measure to make sure you're getting closer and not farther away from your goal. So we have our assessment, we have our habit tracker, we have our goal tracker. We have tools that you can use to measure that you're making good progress. And like I said earlier, if you do those things, if you get clear on your life vision, if you align your goals and habits with that life vision, and if you wrap measurement and accountability around it, you cannot fail to make meaningful progress toward the vision that you created for your life.
I would just say to you, if you're considering doing this, just
Yeah.
do it. You can't lose. Do it for yourself and see what happens.
What happened to Missy and I is because we were able to create an extraordinary life for ourselves, we are now able to help others do that. And that could be your path too. So join us. It's a beautiful thing that we're doing. Our mission is 1 million people with a Lifebook because we think that that's going to change the world, and we'd love to have you by our side.
I'm standing here, guys, in what is possibly the most amazing home I've ever been to. I've been living here for the last 24 hours that we've been shooting with John Butcher. I've never been in a space that seems so beautiful, that is so filled with the most spectacular artwork, that is designed to be in tune with nature, to inspire people to think in unconventional ways. This home itself is a masterpiece of art. But the man in this home is special because what he's created is a masterpiece of a life. John is an outlier in every aspect of life. He showed me that all the ways we've learned to define success in our life, from the time we're little kids to high school to college, a lot of that is absolute rubbish. And that there are entirely new dimensions of success which are emerging in the world today, which are unconventional, controversial, that truly are going to lead to you building not just a happy life, but a legendary life. So let me tell you a couple of things about John Butcher and why you want to be paying attention to this man whom we're going to be bringing onto Mind Valley Academy. The first thing is, John is not a personal growth author. He's an entrepreneur, the chairman of the board of the Precious Moments family of companies that has done 10 billion in sales in the past 30 years. They create those beautiful porcelain dolls that you may have seen everywhere in the world. And while doing that, he has started 20 additional companies. A couple of stunning facts about John. John is in his 50s, and recently he released a blog post that showed his body at the age of 29 and 49. Take a look at this image. This man has somehow been able to defy aging. But it's not just health and fitness. John is a grandfather. He's got 2 grandkids, 1 on the way, 4 children. But you know, he's created a life around his family and his kids so beautiful that his kids do not go to regular school. John instead travels the world with them. He's been to half the world's countries. He has said, my children will learn more in the bazaars of Egypt than in the American public school system. He has completely hacked the idea of raising kids, raising grandkids, and schooling. But now let's talk about his relationships. I have never seen a man and woman more in love and committed to each other than John and his wife, Missy. 30 years together, and they have built one of the most mind-blowingly role model relationships in the world. But there's more. John is able to create a life where he can pursue his passions with ease. He just became an artist. This year, in his 50s, he has sold over 100 grand worth of his artwork. He's now being asked to create art pieces for celebrities around the world, and his work is astonishing. Now, John's secret is really simple, but it's unconventional. And it's a secret I wish every American and world public school system was teaching their kids. It is humanity's loss that this is not mainstream. His secret is a model he calls Lifebook. See, John accidentally became a personal growth legend, and this is what makes him an outlier. All of the other billionaires I've spoken to are unconsciously competent. They are good at what they do, but they cannot retrace their steps and teach you. John is consciously competent. He's built a formula that he's applied to his life diligently for the last several decades, and he started teaching it to people. It started with a few close friends, and then it expanded. Then he started inviting people into his home where he would get facilitators to come and teach them this formula. And this formula, guys, is called Lifebook. I took it with my wife 5 years ago, and it radically changed my life. And that's why for the last 5 years I've been trying to convince John to come on camera to bring him onto the Mind Valley community. So what you're in for here is a treat. You're about to witness something that we have never done before. We are bringing not a guru, not an author, but a brilliant outlier A man whose ideas are so powerful, they have the potential to shake up every single thing you think you know about success, about happiness, about fulfillment. Now let's get started with your introduction to Lifebook.